Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Baka podcast.
Baka.
It's amazing how every time you open your mouth, you prove you're an idiot.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Baka. We are an anime podcast. Every 2 weeks we watch an anime. We talk about it here. Every other week in between those regular episodes, we do this, which is a minisode, which is not quite as long, still kind of long, depending on what you think is long. The size don't matter. We talk about random topics off the top of our head, mostly anime related.
Mostly.
They mostly come at night. Mostly. And this week is no different. We are talking about animes that inspired us to go back to the source material. This comes from Jason. So stuff where we watched it, maybe watched a season, and we just wanted to know either more or go digging deeper. So that's what we will be discussing today in this minisode. To do that, let me introduce my co-host. We have the red to my solo cup, Jeremy. How you doing?
Yes, I actually know that song. I'm doing pretty good. Not a whole lot going on. I mean, nothing like crazy fun or anything. I think I got to play like an hour of Battletech, and that's it. Everything else has just been kind of waiting for phone calls and dealing with phone calls and getting ready to move, and yeah, that's it.
We also have the blue to my man group, Jason. How are you?
Bye. Doing pretty good, healing up, and I've actually been digging into Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and so to give a little context, I watched Full Metal Alchemist and then found out there was a Brotherhood and assumed that it was a direct sequel, like one after the other. And if you watch just Full Metal Alchemist, not only is it shorter, but it's also much more serious in its comedic notes. And so the first couple episodes actually turned me off because I was like, this is basically what I just watched. What is happening? So I just never finished it. And Troy's tried to bring me around to watch it. Well, I'll give him that. And we draw a lot of inspiration from Mother's Basement on this channel. So he was going back over, classics, and I watched his episode on this, and I was just like, I've got to give it a second try, and I'm so happy I did.
Next, we got to watch Legend of the Galactic Heroes.
No, I do not.
No,
you haven't even seen it. You can't recommend it yet.
Hey, it's number one everywhere. It's like considered amazing.
How many episodes is it?
Yeah, so is Love is War.
Something. Hey, Love is War was awesome. It's like 70 something.
Oh, God. That's definitely not happening.
Yeah, it's a big space opera. Yeah.
Jeremy has his pick for next at the end of the year.
That's right. Got to fit it all in there. That's what she said.
Yeah, I mean the first couple of episodes. We're moving past that. The first couple of episodes, definitely feel like especially if you've already watched Full Metal Alchemist, feel like you're on fast forward through a slightly lesser detailed version of the show, and it's like, okay, that's weird. But then you reach the point where the manga and the anime split originally, and it just gets so much deeper, and it's like, oh my goodness, this is so much better.
Let's just say the storyline involving General Hughes hit just as hard, if not harder.
It does. Yeah, I think that the emotional beats still hit, but yeah. And oh, go ahead.
Yeah, what did you do?
Me?
Yeah. I forgot to mention Isekai Quartet. I was just going to throw it in there.
Oh, go ahead.
I forgot that I actually watched it because I watched it in the first part, like the first week after we did the last episodes. And
did you watch the whole thing?
Yeah, it was so good. Oh my God, it was so good. It stuck to the way the characters behave and portray themselves in their own individual anime. It has a lot of jokes. It has a lot of silliness, but I don't think you would actually, because they're trying to solve the issue of like where they are and what the limitations are. They're experienced world jumpers now, right? And they're trying to figure out, who is this guy? Is he also a world jumper? Like, what is going on? Why are we here? What are the limitations? What are the rules? What are we supposed to accomplish? It's really good.
Just think, Jason's the closest to a second season of ReZero there is.
Oh, God. Yes. But I didn't mean to steal your intro, though, Troy.
No worries. My name is Troy. To return the favor, you could just like tune out for a couple minutes because I'm going to talk about Star Wars.
Oh, jeez.
Because I've just been jealous and greedy, taking up everything I can about the new Disney park, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. That's just so darn cool. And I look at everything they're doing there, and I'm like, I would never have enough money to go there because I will spend all of it.
You know, it's super cool.
Spendy in the drinks.
There's a drink where you get a mug at $75.
Yeah, I saw that.
One drink. It almost reminds me of the Apple Pro Stand.
Okay, but we're here to talk about how great it is, so you guys just back up. Like, they have like all the staff there are characters. There's stories of like, I was in the cantina and I let out a Wookiee growl and they yelled at me because the cantina owner just got dumped by a Wookiee, so you're not allowed to make Wookiee noises in the cantina. There's a spy from the next novel coming out who is hiding in the park. If you find her, you can ask her what her mission is and get info about the book that's coming out, and it takes place on the planet. Nice cross promotion. But Kylo Ren's there. There's footage of like stormtroopers, and they're looking for that resistance spy. So they'll come up to little kids and like interrogate them and be like, "So you need to stop." But then if the kid gets scared, they're like, we don't want to mess with this one. Let's move on. and so like everyone there is role playing in the park, and it's just so cool. And like you said, it's so expensive. It would take all my money. Right now, you can only get in with reservations, so you can only be there for a limited amount of time. It'll be years before I finally get to go for sure, but hopefully by then they've added a few more things, and it's just I love Star Wars, and so the fact that there's a place where you can feel like you're in Star Wars is like the holy land for a nerd like me. Okay, let's go on to our minisode.
Disney owns you.
Yep. I have the tattoo to prove it. The brand.
The brand.
It's the mark of the Star Wars.
All right, so. Jason, why don't you start us off with this subject? Like we said, it's about watching an anime and getting inspired to go over to the source material and getting even deeper into what we started by watching the show.
Yeah, and normally when people talk about anime, they usually couple it with manga. Like, I love anime and manga. I've never been a manga reader, and that's just my personality. It's not because I hate manga or comic books. And I was thinking about how on many occasions, we'll watch a scene, we'll talk about it on the show, and someone will go, "Oh, that's not a plot hole or a contrivance. You need to read the manga." And it's like, so we have this discussion on whose responsibility is it to find out that information. And there's been a couple times where I'm going, I really should dig into that, or you know what? Next time I'm at the bookstore, I'm going to look that up. And the only time I've ever actually done that and actually read a full saga was Dragon Ball Z.
You actually read all of the Dragon Ball Z manga?
No. I read the first Dragon Ball saga of when Raditz and Vegeta come to Earth, and but I didn't get to Cell, so I guess I didn't watch I didn't read the whole thing. But I remember reading the majority of that saga and just thoroughly enjoying it, and realizing that the anime was so closely tied. Like, there wasn't a lot of extraneous information from one to the other. It was a pretty faithful retelling, but it made me think of the other anime that we've seen, that there was just other information. So I wanted to get what, ones maybe you guys have been like, I love that, but I feel there was something missing. maybe the manga has more info for us.
Yeah, for me, I think I'm in the same boat. I wish that I actually had the wherewithal to stick to the desire of actually reading when I see that there's an anime that I enjoyed and I want to go and learn more about it. Like ReZero is a great example. I would love to see what's in the mangas, not just the one that the anime may be based off of, but also the ones around it.
Light novel? Isn't that one a light novel?
I've never really understood the difference between the two.
I think a light novel is an actual book, like a book. Yeah.
Really? It's not pictures?
But I'm now doubting myself, so this would be a good thing for people to comment on if I'm an idiot.
So real quickly, if you have pages that are together with a cover, isn't that technically a book?
I mean, as in like a novel versus a
manga, just book. Like a comic book. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which I don't know if that's the distinction. Then I think I would have a much more difficult time with. Well, I mean, obviously it would be translated, so no, I'd be fine with it. But anyways, yeah, I wish I have actually spent more time looking into mangas for anime that I like, but I can't say that I have. Usually, the manga that I wind up seeing, man, the last time that I got to read one, years ago probably, it was more common when I frequented the library. Mm-hmm. I find it very unusual that I would actually go and try to find one online. And as much as I would love to purchase and own them, I just keep winding up purchasing other things instead.
Like the models behind you.
That's right.
So similar to you guys, manga to me is always, it's never been something like I'm going to sit down and read this manga. And I should at some point. It's really something I need to experience. I know my daughters do.
My kid does too.
Yeah. I wonder who's like doesn't watch the anime anymore. She's like, I already read all the manga. You're gonna love this. You're gonna love Promised Neverland, Dad. I already read the whole manga. But for me, it was always like I want a spoiler. Basically, I want to see this scene that I know is coming up, and obviously I can't watch it in anime form. So I'm going to find the manga and read that part of the manga. So that's always kind of been my cheat. The first time I did this is a bit of a dark confession. So let's take off the judgment hats today. And it was Sword Art Online because I really enjoyed the first season of Sword Art Online up until the creepy stuff started happening. I was super into Kirito and Asuna's love story. I thought it was really cool, and I wanted to know what happened. I started looking forward into like what goes on in this series, and I learned about Gun Gale Online and that kind of stuff. I got to read some chapters from that kind of stuff. That was really my first time of I really like what this is, but I have no idea where it could go, and I really want to see where it can go. And since there's no more anime to watch because the whole elf stuff hadn't started yet. I turned to the manga and started looking ahead.
I really thought you were going to go darker there.
Does it get darker than Sword Art Online, fans?
I think the first time I was really inspired to go look and kicked myself for never doing it was Made in Abyss. But then I read some reviews when I did finally decide to go look, and apparently it's a little more risque in the relationship between Reg and so that it didn't quite turn me off, but I never got a chance to actually go find it.
Yeah, you're right. A novella is a light novel is like a novella. No pictures.
Two that I've always been good at peeking at. One Punch Man. I actually own the very first volume of One Punch Man's manga. It's the only manga I actually own, and I haven't like gone to the library to check it out or looked online. And also My Hero Academia. I still look at My Hero Academia for a few spoilers. I want to know what Deku's power is, and I don't want to wait for a whole other season. It's like we're like a whole chapter behind. Come on. Was that whiny enough? Does that get it?
So that was my next one that I was going to talk about is the one that I had full intention and still do of like purchasing and having is My Hero Academia.
That's gonna be so long. See, the shonen ones, they're just so long.
Yeah.
They don't even have
Well,
bookshelf.
Bleach was one that I've seen in a bookstore and I picked up and I was just like, and then all of a sudden I start to remember how terrible the writing is. I was like, I would just put it back. I have a guilty pleasure there. I love Ichiro's story, but dang.
Bleach really made an impression on you, didn't it?
It's everything I love about a shonen written poorly.
So it's like I hate watching a shonen.
Yeah, because it's got the fantastical elements. It's got that Japanese feel with the Japanese
culture, the Shinigami stuff,
right? But also like the supernatural, right? Because it's not just a straight rip from Western supernatural lore. With the sword play and the powers and that power scaling, like everything I love about Dragon Ball Z is just 3 minutes into a battle. Here we get a backstory of 3 people for 4 episodes, and then another 4 minutes of battle with another filler episode.
This is important.
But in the manga, you're never going to hear number 1. Now you feel like number 1. The best part about watching Bleach is that suddenly that song starts playing. It's like, yeah, Ichigo's gonna throw down.
I think the only manga that I own came off of the discount 25 or 50 cent shelf on the library, and so each one is from a different series. Like I have one that's from Fate Zero, I think, and it's pretty cool. It's got a few scenes in there where Saber's doing some cool stuff. I've got probably 3 or 4 from completely different series that I have no idea what the series are, but it's like, hey, it's a manga. Who knows? Maybe it'll be great. And so, yeah, it's kind of just shotgunning whatever's available at the library. But
that sounds like my comic book collections are too.
Yeah,
like, here's issue 3 of Spider-Man.
Exactly.
He's fighting Vulture. I don't know why, but
no
cool.
clue. But I think if I could actually pick some that I would want to dig into right now, I'm actually really curious about the Overlord one, just finding out more details.
Oh,
yeah, because there's from the anime, there were so many little things that people would say in comments. This is expounded on more in the manga, and I would really be interested in that.
I think isn't that one a light novel too, or is it they're both?
Whatever.
I think
Probably
I think most isekais tend to be light novels.
What about Recreator? Is Recreator a light novel? Because I think
that was an anime original.
Zero.
Oh my gosh! Land of the Lustrous.
That was light novel, right?
I think that one you need to. I think that's a manga. I think you'd have to. I think that one's a manga.
That would be what I'd be super interested in getting to. Jeez, now I got my work cut. Thanks, guys.
I have a special shout out.
Series. Yes,
I have a special shout out to a manga series that is not anime inspired. So because I love horror movies, but I'm scared to watch them by myself and never have time to watch them, I spend a lot of free time, just looking at Wikipedia articles of horror movies and reading the plot and being like, that is scary. I like that.
You are my best friend. That's exactly what I do.
And I came across one called Uzumaki, and I found out it was a manga. And so I read first about the manga and then was like, oh my God, that sounds great. And I actually have read the manga. It's written by Junji Ito, who writes terrifying horror manga. He is so good. Uzumaki is about a town that gets cursed by spirals. It's all weird body horror and cosmic horror at the same time. He wrote this one, I always forget the name of it, and it's about these holes in this rocky mountain, right? And all these people are like looking at these holes, they're people shaped, and then people will find one that matches their shape and they just go into them and disappear. I highly recommend his manga if you like horror stuff. Again, any others for you guys, or should we go ahead and wrap this up?
That's it for me.
I'm out.
Okay. Again, none of us will, but we all should read more manga. I think that's the takeaway here.
Yeah.
We are currently watching Magical Girl Spec-Ops Asuka. We will be talking about that next week. It is definitely something we are watching.
You're welcome, Troy.
Okay. If you would like to comment on the manga that you were driven to read after watching anime or light novels, there's nothing wrong with those at all. You can leave a comment on our Twitter at Baka Podcast or email the animebakaclub@gmail.com or leave a comment wherever you found this podcast and we will get back to you. With that, we need to get going, so let's go ahead and say goodbye.
Thanks for listening.
Have a great week.
Sayonara.